You've got Senator Chris Murphy, a Democrat here in my adopted home state of Connecticut, who's out there trying to offer his postmortem on what happened. It was a cataclysm, electoral map wipeout. Senate D practical ceiling is now 52 seats. We're up to 53, Chris, FYI. Time to rebuild the left. We're out of touch with the crisis of meaning, purpose, fueling MAGA. We refuse to pick big fights. Our tent is too small. Does racism explain part of the attraction of the right's nativism? Of course. But mass deportation is a terrible response to Americans' real sense that they are helpless in the face of global forces like increased migration. The left largely ignores this pain. So we have to address the pain, but not with the solution of deportation because it's racist, says he. We don't listen enough. We tell people what's good for them, okay? And when progressives like Bernie aggressively go after the elites that hold people down, they're shunned as dangerous populists. Why? Maybe because true economic populism is bad for our high-income base. Correct. And then he says, meanwhile, men tumble into a different kind of identity crisis as the patriarchy, society's primary organizing paradigm for centuries, rightly crashes. Listen to this guy trying to have it both ways, right? Like, they're racist. I understand they're racist because they support Trump and his deportations, but they're not wrong about immigration. The men are having an identity crisis because their patriarchy is rightly crashing. The right pushes an alluring dial back. The left says, get over it. Again, a refusal to listen and offer responsible solutions. You see, we need to crash the patriarchy, but we need to offer responsible solutions to that crashing, which we support and want. We need to recognize their racism in wanting immigrants out, but we need to not mock it. We need to offer a more sensible. This is disgusting. This guy's a MFer. And you know what's not on his list? Anything having to do with the trans issue, which he, just like that guy in Massachusetts, has been shoving down our throats here in Connecticut, completely on the wrong side. He is a far left radical. And this is what he was saying 2 months ago. This was September or October. Watch.
As a parent personally, I celebrate those few transgender kids who often spend their entire adolescence being shamed or marginalized by the kind of small people who push resolutions like this. I celebrate the fact that they get the experience of the camaraderie and the happiness that comes with being part of a sports team. I think that's great. I don't think that's a threat to my kids. I don't think that's a threat to my community or the nation. This is an absurd resolution. It's designed to distract Americans from Republicans' real agenda. It's designed to build a culture of fear and mistrust.
He's really focused on the happiness. He wants to make the trans kids happy, Eliana, unlike the girls who are having literally all of their teeth knocked out by boys on the field hockey field, or the girls like those in Wisconsin who went into the girls' locker room after a sports match and had a so-called trans student, an 18-year-old male, come in fully naked to join them in the shower. But Chris Murphy is super glad that the so-called trans student is happy, and all the others who are unhappy, the actual girls who have a right to their privacy and to fair play and safe play, they can F right off in his world because their happiness, it's just not a priority because this is a small number.
Look, I think there are going to be a lot of clips like this that Democrats are going to have to reckon with, because the truth is that the party went way too far left and embraced a lot of issues that, that ended up repelling a majority of Americans. And there's going to be a pivot away from these sorts of cultural issues. And I think it's going to take 2 or 3 years for the party to figure out how do they talk about issues that actually matter to Americans and don't repel them, because the trans issues is one that matters deeply to them. But the way Democrats have been talking about it is one that deeply alienates, most normal people. So I think it's this going to take a while for Democrats to untangle, and they're going to have to be willing to make a lot of people in their own coalition very angry.
I mean, look at that chart, Emily. It was the number one issue for swing state voters. Number one, it's above inflation. It's above immigration. Ignore it at your peril, Chris Murphy, and all of you other late to the party Democrats who are wringing your hands and racking your brains trying to figure out how this happened. We all know that while we'd like to think we matter in states like Connecticut and New York and California, the ones who decide the presidency live in those 7 critical swing states, and they're paying attention, and they've had it with this nonsense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
By the way, Megyn, I mean, we should note, and when you say it was the number one issue, the Trump campaign also worked very hard to make it the number one issue, and that their best ad was about this issue, and they poured hundreds of millions of dollars into putting that ad on the television sets of swing state voters. And they had a really catchy tagline: Kamala Harris is for they, them, and Donald Trump is for you. And so I think it's hard to separate the two because, of course, before the campaign started, voters would have said inflation, immigration are the top 2 issues. But I think the Trump campaign did a lot to bring out this issue, knowing that it was something that would really alienate, regular independent voters, undecided voters from Kamala Harris and the Democratic Party.
To their credit, they did. But I have to say, the women and the men like Billboard Chris, who have been activists in this space for years, are the ones who made the Trump campaign recognize that they had a live wire here, that there was something in the American populace that was infuriating a lot of lovely, well-meaning parents who had been tolerant for too long in an effort to be inclusive, not bully, but then had seen a shift to where biological girls were getting bullied and hurt. And even when I talked to Trump a couple of years ago, it was, he was a little on his heels when I said, can a man become a woman? He handled it, but this wasn't really, and I was late to the party, but there have been women and men in this space for a long time who have been really pushing this and have been totally fearless. So I think about them. I thought about them last week too. It's a massive victory that they made the Trump campaign make this an issue. And look at the response, Emily.
Yeah, that is such a good point. I remember when I was covering Title IX back in 2017, and Betsy DeVos was hesitant about actually undoing some of what the Obama administration had done because the cultural pressure at the time, coming from outlets like CNN and the Associated Press and all of these places, was so strong that even somebody like Betsy DeVos was being very, very careful about how to handle the issue. And now we fast forward, and I mean, shout out to people like Terry Schilling, the American Principles Project, who, when I talked to him a couple of days before the election, I asked him, how are you feeling about suburban women? And one of the things he said was running on pushback against the transgender issue. And I found that very, very interesting, because what the left was saying at the time is that this is all about kitchen table issues and democracy, lowercase d democracy. You didn't hear from a lot of corporate media outlets that Republicans were having success running on the transgender issue. And what's also interesting about that to me is where the postmodern left, the Eddie Glaude Jr.'s, and the right agree is that this mattered. But the Eddie Glaude Jr.'s of the world will blame it on bigotry. And the right just says, we tapped into the common sense of the Joe Rogan listener who sees this as another one of the issues, the same ways they see it sometimes economic populism. They see this as them being held in contempt by the people in power, because there's room for reasonable disagreement on this. They may be pro-LGBT. I've talked to parents whose kids went to facilities to deal with, their gender dysphoria, and were fully going through the transition process because their parents are generally supportive of the LGBT issue. And the parents realized, oh my gosh, we made a horrible mistake. We thought that we were being supportive. We thought that we were being loving, and we were wrong. And people who haven't gone through that, or talked to people who have gone through that, have no idea how wide the room for disagreement is on this issue, how common sense the people who disagree with this issue are, and how far left many of them actually are. I mean, it's just so out of touch to continue carrying on as though this is the only acceptable position that you can have, and not understand that for many people, it's not just something they disagree with, it animates them, because you're telling them they're stupid and they're bigots if they disagree with you on it. And that's how you get people to the polls for Trump.
I mean, I'm terrified to offer a list, because there's just been so many great people in this space who have been very bold and brave. But just to name a few who have definitely influenced me, you got to start with J.K. Rowling, right? You got to look at Abigail Schreier and her amazing book, Irreversible Damage, in 2020. And then the women who have just been incredibly smart in advocating on this, like Helen Joyce, like Kelly J. Keene, like Jennifer Bilek. Even on this show, the women who came on and really kind of helped me see the light on language, not just Kelly J, but also Carrie Prejean Bowler and Britt Mayer came on for a year and they were refusing to do that crap. And I was like, I don't know. And eventually I realized, God, they're totally right. And I hate to even say Billboard Chris, Matt Walsh. There have been so many folks who have shown total and utter courage. And I'm so grateful to all of them for helping me see the truth and then to get loud about it. And all of us have been loud about it. And finally, we were heard. We were heard by the Trump campaign. Riley Gaines, how could I forget her after her terrible experience with Leah Thomas? So all these women, Chloe Cole, detransitioner, who's been very brave, who was just a teenager when this was done to her, all of those fierce warriors won on Tuesday. And watching the other side try to deal with that fact is kind of entertaining and extremely gratifying. Grand Canyon University, a private Christian university in beautiful Phoenix, Arizona, believes that we are endowed by our Creator with certain unalienable rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. GCU believes in equal opportunity and that the American dream starts with purpose. By honoring your career calling, you can impact your family, friends, and your community. Change the world for good by putting others before yourself. Whether your pursuit involves a bachelor's, master's, or doctoral degree, GCU's online, on-campus, and hybrid learning environments are designed to help you achieve your unique academic, personal, and professional goals. With over 340 academic programs as of June of 24, GCU meets you where you are and provides a path to help you fulfill your dreams. The pursuit to serve others is yours. Let it flourish. Find your purpose at Grand Canyon University. Private, Christian, affordable. Visit gcu.edu. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.